So, I wanted to do another video, 1939 Start Elite Difficulty, and I did Norway and Finland, and today you're going to see Finland, because it went differently than I thought it would. Here you see me turning on Iron Mode, and we'll get into the game. Attempt 1 went pretty poorly, so poorly that we lost after not even half a year of war. Of course we couldn't have that. I didn't want to end up as a Soviet puppet. I wanted to hold against them for at least a little longer. So we gave it another shot. For this one I did some things a little differently. Mainly I put the defensive line further in the back. Another big difference was that I let the old production of guns run a little longer with more factories than the new ones, just to get enough guns out to give to everyone, so I wouldn't have a deficit. We'll get to the third thing that's different in the setup, though you might not even be able to call it that in a moment, but I just wanted to show that in this case the Soviets just declared war without even giving me a choice to give up that territory, which I thought was interesting because it is historical. Well, I suppose they did give me the referendum, it was just a little late as they had already declared war. You can also already see that I'm losing a little bit in the south. The third main difference is about to hit right now. I just cheated. No, just kidding. I shuffled some troops in to hold that, and the Swedes said yes to supporting us this time. And the support was actually kind of substantial, at least to me in this moment. I really needed it, so it might have been just good RNG, but I do think the general strategy also worked better. So we'll skip ahead a little bit now. What we can see here is that the Soviets are trying another naval invasion. Last time that really ended us, and this time it will be a huge hindrance as well, because the harbor will fall, even though I did get some troops in, but it was just too late. But I just cranked up the volume on Niet Molotov to 11 and gave it my all. So I pulled some troops from the front that I thought I might be able to afford, and I was able to take back the port as they had only left in one unorganized tank that had recently arrived. And I thought, maybe I can kill the pockets, return to the front quickly, but it became pretty clear pretty quickly that the front just crumbled without those troops that I had pulled back. So I thought I would probably have to do another last stand in the south like last time, only this time maybe a little more successful if I'm lucky. And there were some pretty dicey moments, as you can see, where the harbor gets encircled. And this time I am able to get more troops back quicker, just because I started the retreat earlier, I think. And as you can see, they even landed another naval invasion in the east there. And I am able to break through to the capital again, which was the saving grace here. It allowed us to set up a defensive perimeter that held for much longer than I thought it would. We set up that perimeter about a month later than the game before ended, and as you can see we held a lot longer still. This naval invasion scared me for a moment, but we were able to kill this as well. Now, more than a year after the Soviets invaded us, they are being invaded by the Germans, and this is our golden chance. We refuse to join the German faction because I think that would be kind of against the spirit of these challenges. But I will profit from something that I have been seeing, and that is Germany is overperforming in these last few games I had, I must say. You can also see Japan also has defeated China at this point, which is very unusual because I did pick historical. Rant over. But now that the Soviets are busy, this is our golden chance to actually take back our country, in my opinion. So we tried really hard for that. Sadly, Germany didn't want to take our military access, so everything they take from our country, they just keep. And that gave me a lot of pressure, so I pushed out pretty aggressively, which didn't work out. So in the beginning I thought, well, we're pushing out completely, we're encircling the whole east. And it's looking like that might work, but I just don't have the troops for it. And I actually have to pay pretty heavily for that. So if Germany just would have given me that access, I wouldn't have been as rushed, but sadly they didn't. Well, they didn't want to take the access, rather. So actually I have to fall back to nearly the same position we had held in. Well, a little bit bigger, but not by much, before we actually push out. The Soviets have been weakened at this point and their supply situation has become horrible. So this time we are able to push out way better and just encircle some troops and kill them. And I'm trying to cut off the Germans as well, just so I can keep as much of this country as I can. Been fighting for over a year now against increasingly bad odds, and not just so the Germans can take it all away from me in the last moment, but it's looking like it, sadly. The Germans might not have been willing to give us back our country, but they were willing to give us military access, so I could try to keep my war score up a little bit to maybe be able to retake my country. I also stopped all Lend-Lease that I had taken before and didn't take any new ones, and tried to send Germany, Italy and everyone a few convoys or something, just to keep my war score somewhat reasonable. I also tried to reinvade this island, and I'm saying tried because I was winning, but apparently the Italians were trying before me, and of course they gained it then instead of me. After the Soviets were at 99% capitulations and the Germans still wouldn't give me back my territory even though I improved relations, I gave them Lend-Lease, I bit the bullet and joined the Axis, and they still just didn't give me back my country. But barely a week later, the Soviets finally fell and I was at least able to have my country in the peace deal. After securing decent borders for Finland, I also tried to puppet a bit of Russia. I must say I was really happy with the end result. I mean, our Russia was basically just non-lived in tundra, but that was really fine for me. We just quickly left Germany because I only joined the Axis to have a nicer peace deal, to be honest. And then I just baked in the glory of having won my first elite difficulty campaign. Thanks for watching. After winning the elite difficulty 1939 start, I'm definitely gonna play Finland soon again to try to see how that goes and maybe get that great achievement. If you want to see that, subscribe and tell me in the comments.